Hey, Jonathan Peters here with Big Heads, Big Ideas. And so I'm working on this program that we'll be offering here hopefully in a couple weeks about using persuasion and influence inside the learning environment. Because if you've been around me, you know that we often push people away with self-hugging. We tend to present and create things that we enjoy, not what they enjoy. And so one way to help people accept our offerings, our courses, what if we used persuasion inside of there? So I'm going this first course, I'm going through my 9 basic principles of influence. And so the first one is scarcity. And we see this all the time inside of marketing and sales. But what if we use scarcity inside the learning environment? So I'm going to give an example of how scarcity worked on me, all right? But as I'm sharing this story, think about how you could use what's going on inside of the story in the training room inside the e-learning. So here's the story, has a little background, is that I'm a bourbon connoisseur, so I quit keeping track of all the different bourbons I've had when I went past 500, and that was several years ago. So one of my favorite is Garrison Brothers bourbon. So this is in Hill Country here in Texas. It was the first bourbon in Texas to be made exclusively in Texas. And I used to live 45 minutes away from the distillery. So several times, several weekends a year, I would volunteer and go up for on Saturday and Sunday and would help with the bottling because this is all wax. And so what you do is you have to dip it in the wax bucket, hold it, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, and then turn it and turn it over because you cannot have any drips, because if you have drips, Maker's Mark is going to sue them. But you can't leave it so long that you can't put the little Texas star on top. So it's a lot of fun. In fact, this one is signed by the chief distiller for all my hard work there. But anyway, the point is this: scarcity. So yeah, you can buy this, or at least in Texas, pretty much any good liquor store. But the point is this: they came out with a limited edition. So they had one barrel that was 3 years in barrel, so to qualify as a bourbon, and then they put it inside of a port cask for another 2 years, called Guadalupe. So there's a river here in Texas called the Guadalupe. We do not say Guadalupe. In Texas, we call the river Guadalupe. So this is a barrel for this limited edition. And I just happened to be going up to Austin when that was going to happen. So I now live about 5.5 hours away from Austin. This would be another hour out of town. So that would be a long journey. But I said, okay, we're going to do it. So we get up early, we start driving up there. So Monica has a hair appointment. So driving, keeping 10 miles, 15 miles over the speed limit, make sure we get there in time, get there, drop her off early to her place. You're going to have to sit in the waiting room waiting so I can drive on out because there's only so many available. There's been a line at 8 o'clock when the distillery opened. There was a line of people already for this. So there's this rush. I get there, park, and I could see this group of people heading towards the tent. And I go walking really quickly to get there in front of them. I cut in front of them. You have to have your taster first. I have my taster. Say, okay, let's go, let's get a bottle. Number 90. There's 90 left when I got to mine. So notice, okay, the drive to get this bottle. So first of all, yes, it's good and all those wonderful things. But the way scarcity works is for all the rushing and everything I did, I haven't even opened it yet. I've had this for several weeks now. So it's sitting there. That's not the end of the story. Texas has this weird rule that you can only buy 2 bottles from the distillery a month. You can go to the liquor store and buy as many cases as you want, but you can only buy 2 there. So that added another layer of scarcity because I'm here. I have 1/2 of the 2 that I can get. So I go inside the shop and they have 2 different versions of the single barrel. Okay, so because it's single barrel, so you would say, well, I would like to know which one I like. Well, to do that, you need to go to the bar area and do a full tasting. So tasting is four different versions. One is this, which I already have, which I have in the store. I know what the taste is. The other one's the honey one. I've had that before, not particularly a fan of it. And then the two bottles there. And so I make my decision, go back in. Now a tour bus has come in, a tremendous long line. I have to stand in line to get this bottle. So now I got my two bottles. Now look at this. This bottle I paid $110 for, single barrel. Down the road here, the liquor store has mispriced theirs for $90. Right? So for $90, I get the single barrel. I get this one for $20 more up there. Why? Because of scarcity. I can only buy two. So now I can only buy two. So this was 200. This is 110. The tasting was, I think it was $20. So now I'm right around three, whatever you do the math. The point is all because of scarcity. And then now you'll notice I haven't opened either one of these. Why? Well, this one I could open, but this one is scarce. There's only one of a kind. I can't get another one. Oh, I forgot that part of it too. Scarcity, one per customer. I can only buy one, all right? Because there's no eBay, there's no aftermarket on this. So when you think about, it's not just a limited edition. There's not just the ones, the twos. Let's say we're only going to accept 20 people into our course or something like this that adds that scarcity. Or maybe if you're inside a gamification, there's only so many of these available, these elements, these tokens, these badges, or whatever available. But to also think about the restriction of you can only buy two. Right? What if you said, oh, you could, instead of taking as many courses as you want, you can only take two courses. So thinking about scarcity, how can we bring the motivation of scarcity, the persuasion, the influence of scarcity, or at least perceived scarcity, into our learning programs? So I'd love to hear your ideas and comments down below. And remember to subscribe because while I'm looking at, I can imagine doing something similar going through each of the 9 principles. And of course, as I come along with some other interesting ideas, I'll be posting those up as well. So thanks from Jonathan Peters, Big Heads, Big Ideas.